Hello everyone, and welcome to this Uska News Water News video podcast. In November 2016, the first Global Water Stewardship Forum met in Scotland, the Hydro Nation, convened by the Alliance for Water Stewardship. Experts from more than 20 countries met in sunny Edinburgh for 2 full days with representatives from governments, large and small corporations, NGOs, finance and civil society. The forum was designed to advance global understanding and impacts of water stewardship and contribute to the further development of the global AWS water stewardship standard. Uska News reported on the forum, and I had an opportunity to speak to several key participants. Carlo Galli, can you please take a moment to introduce yourself to our viewers and tell us what brings you to this gathering?
I am working with Nestle. I am with Nestle 25 years right now. I've always been covering water-related positions at Nestle. Currently, I'm technical director for water resources at the Nestle head office in Switzerland. In this capacity, I drive the water stewardship strategy at Nestle, and most importantly, I am in charge of its implementation at grassroots level. So it means promoting water stewardship principles within all our operations, roughly 500 factories around the world, and the agricultural supply chain.
And it's very encouraging for this inaugural forum to have a giant corporate like Nestle attending this event. But Nestle has been involved in water stewardship for a long time.
Yeah. I can give you my personal experience at least. I think that Nestle has always been delivering on water stewardship even before the term itself has been invented, because we speak about water stewardship in the last 10 years, put it this way. But if I go back, my personal experience, for example, the first job I had at Nestle was basically trying to make sure I could deliver water stewardship in the mountain spring that I was responsible for in the Italian Alps in 1991. And I remember that at that time we came in owning this new business, having a lot of problems with the local communities, with the local municipality, because the previous owner, basically they developed their projects to collect water resources for this natural mineral water brand without taking into consideration the right to use water of the local community. So we took many years to establish collaboration projects with the municipality. At the end, we basically ended up with a very good collaboration with the local municipality, with our employees being very proud to work for the company. That was not the case before. So at that time, if you ask me, no one knew what was water stewardship. And we have many other examples at Nestle. So at field level, we have been doing that because this idea of creating shared value, this idea to obviously create business value for the company, but at the same time having a role in the local society has always been part of our DNA. Today, we are engaging in the different platforms, and AWS is one of the core best platforms to promote water stewardship, because we have seen more than through local pilots or local issues, really from the corporate level approach, that we need to have a broader engagement in these collaborative efforts. As I mentioned during the forum yesterday, we have seen over time that the huge investments that we have put in improving the efficiency at our factory sites, we are speaking about millions, hundreds of millions of Swiss francs over the last decades, have not really generated the positive outcome that we expected in terms of solving or helping to us to solve the local operational and reputational issues. Because we have learned that yes, you can be very good in managing water resources internally in your factory, but water is a shared resource by definition. There's so many other users around. So if you drive efficiency on one site, when you have hundreds of other sites, business, or hundreds of other users, not really having the same type of perspective, not really having the same type of focus on saving water, and the understanding that it's a shared resource, well, at the end, you are not improving in terms of security for your business, and you're not putting in anything really valuable for the civil society. So we have learned that over time is much better to dedicate some time and allocate some resources to deliver collaborative, collective action initiatives locally, because they are the real project, the real initiatives capable to address the issue as it is. Operationally, clearly, because you want to make sure that you have enough water for your business, but at the same time that this is not compromising the access to water to other users locally. Reputationally, and we have especially for our bottled water business a lot of issues locally with local communities or issues with campaigners or activists, is it's important to work on AWS and the standard, so developing and implementing the standard locally, because the issue we have, although we think we are doing great job locally in managing and monitoring water resources, if you want to address the issue of being criticized because you use too much water or use the water unsustainably, I think it's much better to have a credible third party through a certification, basically giving evidence on your behalf that you are a good water steward, rather than self-declaring you think you are a good water steward. So I think that AWS is the best platform for us really to address operational and reputational issues around our sites.
And you see implementation as developing at a local level rather than at a global level of the standard?
Our contribution to AWS can be global indeed, because we are an AWS member. We have been founding member, and personally also been involved in the development of the standard, because I have been one of the member of the International Standard Development Committee. So this is the global contribution. I think there is a global voice on water stewardship, and AWS is, in our view, a very good logo, a very good brand, put it this way, to promote water stewardship internally to our people who are not necessarily water experts, but they need to understand why to engage in water stewardship, and externally speak to our stakeholders. Locally, I think is core element for AWS is the verification, certification component of the framework. And this is where we are committed to implement the standard, implement the principles of the standard everywhere, so homogeneously everywhere in our factories. And then in certain priority areas, we are committed to certify our sites. So today we are already committed publicly to certify our California operations. We are committed to certify all our facilities in Pakistan. We have many more facilities to be certified coming up in the pipeline for our bottled water business. So there's a strong element on public commitment related to the AWS standard at Nestlé level.
And you made clear in your presentation yesterday that in your company you see water stewardship as being much more than a CSR exercise, that it is driven by business requirements looking forward.
Yes, indeed. It's really coming back to the point of ensuring and strengthening your license to operate. So it has to be really locally driven. It has to be a movement to enable people to be aligned on the meaning, on the definition of water stewardship and what is needed to deliver on water stewardship locally. And at the end of the day, it's what we call creating value, as I mentioned before. It's if I can make a difference between CSR and CSV, is that CSR, I think you can do good, but not necessarily the corporate social responsibility efforts would go in the immediate sphere of influence of your manufacturing facilities. You could deliver a lot of very good things on water in many places around the world. I think what is the difference when you're talking about water stewardship and you talk about a site-based approach on water stewardship within a catchment is that you want to deliver positive outcomes environmentally, socially and economically in the sphere of influence of your factory. So the radius it's relatively close around your sites. You don't go too far. You want to be perceived as a good citizen and a responsible water user within the community that is sharing the water resources that you're using for your business.